Welcome to Fireside Gaming. I'm Billum, and the wife and my son and I all just recently came back from SEGE, which is Southeast Game Exchange. Got the little Saturday pass here. I also evidently have a cat meowing at my door, if you hear that. And we picked up a lot of retro games this year. We didn't do much of the panels or anything. That's not really been our thing. But we like to go retro game hunting. And this year was a great year for SEGE, as it was very big, much bigger than previous years. And so there was a lot to look at and a lot of games to check out and find. And we got to knock off a few really big ones off of our list that we were happy to find there. So I figured I'd share those with you. But before we get into that, my wife has a tradition every year of buying a plushie. And this year, she actually bought two. Because why not? Milotic, pretty sure that's how you say it, and Frostlass. These are two of her favorite Pokemon. She found these sitting plushies here. They just, are supposed to sit. Well, Frostlass might not, but there we go. And yeah, she was just super excited to find these and really happy to see them. And they were smaller plushies, so she bought two of them this year. Or, maybe she just wanted to. That could have been it too. Either way, yeah, always show off her little plushie she buys. And you know what? We can just set you guys back up there. And my son usually gets something every year. I say usually. He's only been with us for like 2 years now. But either way, this year, he got a Blastoise plushie. My son has loved Squirtle forever. The first time we took him to SEGE, he got a Squirtle plushie. He has the Sleeping Squirtle plushie, the big one that you always see at like Walmart and Target and stuff like that. And yeah, so he got a Blastoise now. Blastoise, you're kind of big. If I sit you back there, you're just going to cover them up. So let's do it the other way. Aha. Perfect. You guys are now my background for my video. But let's actually talk about games, and we're going to start off with Xbox. I only grabbed a couple of Xbox games, but they were ones that I was very happy to find. And honestly, the wife spotted a lot of stuff that I didn't. She pointed these out to me. Gun Valkyrie for original Xbox. I guess I'll mention this real quick. You're going to see sticker prices on all this stuff. I haven't taken the time to clean up these cases or anything like that. But I will say that a lot of the vendors this year were super negotiable, specifically any of these round stickers. This guy was really cool about knocking $5 to $10 off of a game, just depending on quality and like condition and stuff like that. So yeah, it was a really good year for game collecting and deal hunting and stuff like that. And as you can see, this is a complete copy. It's got the manual, it's got the game. Though I will note that, I don't know if this is how Gun Valkyrie originally is, it's got one of those like super tall Xbox ones, almost like it would hold multiple discs, but it only says one on it. It says one, so it's only a one disc case. I don't know, it's kind of weird. I don't know if I can get it out. It's like super easily on camera, obviously. There we go. And as you can see, the disc is in good shape. There's a little bit of, well, nothing really wrong with it. There's a sneak view at me, evidently. Reflection on the disc. Get used to that, I guess. And then we have... You know what? Hold on. I didn't even talk about what this is. Jeez, what am I doing here? So, Gun Valkyrie is a third-person hack-and-slash shooter-style game where you play as one of two characters. You can play as Kelly, who is our shooter character, the Gun Valkyrie, I assume we would be talking about. I've not played this. Or, oh man, I should have looked this up before I even started this video. Saburoda? Let's go with that. Who is a samurai. These are very much like action hack and slash or action shooter games, or the game. There's only one in the series as far as I know. But yeah, it looked really cool. It looked like it was right up my alley, and it was neat to see a guy have it there. It was actually any of these like red stickers, or not red stickers, circular stickers, were all from the same vendor. And it was funny because he was like, I'm selling my personal collection. I was like, well, me and you have very similar tastes, so cool on ya. This is a From Software game. There is a second one. The guy who was selling this one did have it, but it didn't have the manual, so it wasn't complete. And I was like, man, I think I'll pass on it this time. But Otogi, Myth of Demons. This is, as you can probably guess, a hack and slash from Software. Yet again, I've not played it, so I can't really say too much about it. These are games I'm obviously willing to cover on the channel, just like anything that I show in these videos. I actually have like a little list where I keep track of games that people have been like, oh, hey, you should check that out and stuff like that. And that way I can go to it if I'm like, man, I just don't know what to play. It hasn't come up too often yet, so I won't be like, I am so dedicated to playing those requests. But it does definitely help me gauge interest. So if that's something that you want to comment, I do appreciate it. Now we move on to Wii games. And we're starting with a pick of the wives. Xenoblade Chronicles. Xenoblade Chronicles is one that we already have on the Wii U digitally, but the wife was looking for a physical copy, and yet again, this guy was really good about, like, you know, dropping down like $5 to $10 on game prices. A lot of vendors were this year. Oh, it's got a reversible cover. I didn't know that. I think, you know what, the wife might have mentioned it, but I say the wife a lot. My wife is Aaliyah, but I'm just used to saying the wife, so that is what it is. Color manual. The wife really likes Xenoblade Chronicles. She loves the first one. She loves Chronicles X. She wasn't as big of a fan of Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and she hasn't played 3 yet. It's still sitting on our shelf. But either way, she definitely wanted to own this one physical. I watched her play through the entirety of this. I thought it was super interesting. I just unfortunately don't like Xenoblade combat. She actually got into the series because I bought Chronicles X, or I got it for Christmas. I say I bought, but technically she got it for me for Christmas, just like I got her something for Christmas. But like, we picked it out, if you get what I mean. And she just kind of took over Chronicles X and played the crap out of it and loved it. Absolutely. It's one of her favorite games. Whereas for me, I have never beaten it to this day because the combat just does not jive with me. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. And our next Wii game is a me pick, and that is Sin and Punishment Star Successor. I played Sin and Punishment on the N64, not on the N64, you're going to get what I mean here. It was a virtual console release. I have it on Wii U through the virtual console. I've played it a little bit. I'm not like the biggest Sin and Punishment fan in the sense that, like, I don't know a whole lot about it, but it's one of those games that's really easy to play, even though it never got like an official US release until the virtual console, because it's already in English. So I've not really played Sin and Punishment too much, but I've always been interested in them because I like these style of games. So I figured I might as well pick this one up while I'm at it. Hopefully it's good. Seems like it should be. You're going to hear a lot of ums. I'm tired. Yesterday was exhausting. It was a big convention. We were out for 5 or 6 hours walking around, though it was much better air conditioned this year. My gosh, previous SEGs have been super freaking hot and humid, and so many people crammed in, but because it was bigger this year, it wasn't as hot. The AC was working better. I hope it's like this every year going forward. And I probably should have grabbed footage, and I just didn't. I was kind of caught up in walking around, but I'm not exactly one of those vlog tubers anyway, so. Okay, so this one's kind of a big one. I've been looking for this one for years, but it's always so expensive. And I'm not going to say it wasn't expensive still, but it was a lot cheaper than I was expecting it to be, so I picked it up. I like Fire Emblem Path of Radiance. I don't think it's as good as the GBA games. Those are my favorite Fire Emblem games, but I really do like Path of Radiance, and I've never gotten the chance to play Radiant Dawn. So seeing it here for $85 whenever normally it goes for over 100, it was like, this feels like it's going to be worth picking up. I should go ahead and maybe open this. Sorry, there's going to be a lot of extra noise. Some of these are in plastic wraps. They're not, like, this isn't new. Like, I have to specify that. This isn't a new game. It's just they put it in a protective seal for selling. As you can see, it is complete. The manual and everything is in great shape. This is a thick manual. This was that era where they put, like, all the languages, like, full size in every manual, isn't it? Yeah, I remember Smash on Smash for Wii, whichever one that was. Brawl, being like this as well. But I really like my tactical RPGs. I like RPGs in general. Tactical RPGs are great. I'm planning to cover the original Fire Emblem this year. I've already played through Roy's mode, and I'm partway through Hector's mode. I was giving it a little bit of a break so I don't burn out, but I hope to have it reviewed this year. I definitely will have it reviewed this year. And from there, and I say original Fire Emblem, but the original GBA Fire Emblem, I think it's Fire Emblem 7 technically. I'll probably review 7, 6, Sacred Stones, and then move on to Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn over the course of the next few years, probably. If you've been a long-time visitor of this channel, you know I don't marathon games. It's just not my thing. But yeah, this was a nice find there, especially for the price. And we're going to stick to Nintendo, but we're going to move on to handheld with Final Fantasy, The Four Heroes of Light. Now, if you're a Bravely Default fan, this was the first game they kind of worked on. And you can even see on the art here, like, it's very Bravely Default looking. And this was the game they first worked on before working on Bravely Default. It is a Final Fantasy. It still has a kind of a job class system. It's a little different from my understanding. I've not played it. Let me get this open here. Oh, and this is something to note about this one. You see that I've opened it, but I've not, because this is a sealed copy. And, you know, some people might be like, oh man, a sealed copy, that's a great collector's item. Let me just open this up, because I am firmly of the opinion that games are meant to be played. I do not care for the collector's market when we have like graded games and stuff. Obviously, I buy and collect games. I love playing games. I don't agree with buying games, sending them off to get graded, and then letting them sit on a shelf. I hate that so much so that when we were at the con, anytime I saw somebody that was selling graded games, I just skipped their booth. That's how I am. I just do not like it. I hate it personally. But this was sealed. It was brand new, which is why I paid a little bit more for it, which means it should have... Oh my goodness. Ah, there we go. That sucker was sealed. It should have a poster. And let's see here. Can I even open this on my camera? Or is it going to be too big? I don't know. It's a DS game. Surely the poster isn't massive, right? Right? That's not too bad. That's not too bad. Okay, cool. Final Fantasy, The Four Heroes of Light, the poster that comes with it. Sorry if this is kind of hard to see. Here, maybe I can scoot back my setup. You'll forgive my messy desk. But yeah, there we go. That's the poster that comes with the game. I quite like the Bravely Default styled art. I know there obviously there's an artist behind it, but I do not remember that name off the top of my head. Can I get you to fold back up? Aha. No, don't you crinkle. Don't crinkle on me. There we go. Okay. I'm super excited to have this one. I love Bravely Default 1. I thought Bravely Second Inlayer was a pretty good sequel. I don't think it was as good as 1. And I actually dropped out of Bravely Default 2 after a few hours. It just was not... It wasn't as engaging to me. And I don't know if it's because it switched to a more ATB style or something, but I wasn't like super engaged with it. But I'm really excited to check this one out. I'm glad to have it. Obviously, it looks amazing and great because it's a brand new copy of the game. And yeah, I'm a big Final Fantasy fan. Maybe I'll review this one. I don't want to say this year, but like I could see myself taking a break between Final Fantasy 1 and 2 to review it potentially, or because it's just a one-off, right? Like it's just a spin-off one-off. It's not part of a series or the mainline games. It's like how I did Final Fantasy Tactics Advance already, which has become my most popular video. So maybe I should do one-offs. I don't know. Either way, I was super excited to find this. I'm super happy to have it. I'm looking forward to playing through it. Even if I don't do it for the channel, I'll probably end up just playing through it anyway. All right. Our last, I'm pretty sure, last Nintendo game is actually... Did that really fall out and I didn't notice? Look at me. Son of a gun. Open! By all means, if somebody goes to like redeem the product code from a DS game that I just showed, I don't even know if it'll work, and I don't have a Square Enix members thing, so it doesn't matter. Okay, last Nintendo game is a Nintendo Switch game. This is Monster Hunter Stories 2. This was one of the wife's pickups. She really liked Monster Hunter Stories 1. I played the demo. I never got around to playing the full game. I want to. It's basically kind of like Pokemon, but not. And she wanted to play Stories 2. She looked at picking up the Stories 1 and 2 pack that came out recently on Switch, but that one has Stories on the cart, and then Stories 2 is only a digital code, and we're very much physical collectors. Now, this one is brand new. It's sealed. You can see that. This isn't my game. I'm not opening it. That would be kind of rude to my wife, I think. This is her game. She should open it. And now we move on to PlayStation games with another one from the wife. 102 Dalmatians, Puppies to the Rescue. I know jack all about this game except for the fact that that's a creepy looking Corella. I didn't play this. She played it as a kid. I have no idea what it's about. I know it's complete. I know she's been looking for it for a few years, and she's seen some copies before that have been in not the best states, to say the least. This one is actually in like pristine condition. I'm not even going to pull the manual out because I messed that up before. This one's in great shape. She's super excited that she has it. I don't know when she'll play it, but she's looking to get into Dragon's Dogma 2. That's kind of her next big project. Moving on, we are going to PS2 games with a me pick, which is Dark Cloud 2, Dark Chronicle, whatever you want to call it, whatever part of the world you live in. Manual is a little beat up, but you know what? It's really not that bad. Seems like it got bent wrong at one point, but it's all completely legible. I don't even think it's water damage or anything. I think it just literally got bent at one point. But Dark Cloud 1 was a fun game. I played it a lot growing up. I always have intended to revisit it. This is Dark Cloud 2, the sequel. It is in pretty good shape. I'm sure you can see. Obviously, it's going to play. That's not a concern. These are kind of like roguelike, or at least the first one's a very roguelite or roguelike. I don't even know the difference at this point. Roguelite RPG with like kind of like, I don't know. It almost makes me think of Soul Blazer with how you restore a town and stuff like that. But they're fun. That's the best thing I can say. It's fun. This one's probably fun. I've heard this one's better than the first one. And so I'm looking forward to playing it. I probably won't get around to it until after I play the first one again, just so I have that, and then I'll do channel coverage, reviews, all that jazz. And we are to another wife pick with Ape Escape 2. I sold her on the original Ape Escape. I told her she should play it because it's a lot of fun, and she played it, and she really enjoyed it. And so Ape Escape 2 was there, and she was like, yeah, I'll pick up Ape Escape 2. This is monkey catching. I don't know. It's got this weird thing about catching with the analog sticks and stuff. The first Ape Escape was very interesting in how it played because it was an interesting control scheme. Different than what we were used to because analog sticks were kind of new back then. I've never played 2. I've only ever played 1. She's only ever played 1, so she's looking forward to playing 2. It was a series that I think she played last year for the first time, and she really enjoyed it, so she wanted to play the others. And now we have one that is a me pick that I already owned, but I kind of had to buy a second copy. And I'll explain why. So, I just covered Dot Hack Infection on the channel, and I was going to move on to Mutation, and I could because my disc mostly works. So I lent my copies of Infection and Mutation, and then you see this disc is in great shape, to friends back in the day because I tried to sell them on Dot Hack. It was really something that only me and a couple of friends got interested in. And obviously this has the Liminality OVA disc, and it is in great shape as well. But one of them stored my games in his car's like sun visor CD holder, and they just got absolutely trashed. I've bought a new copy of Infection, and I have now bought a new copy of Mutation. And on top of my friends trashing the discs of the game and making me be like, well, I really need to get new copies because they kind of like skip at some points and freeze. And that's not a problem with my copy of Outbreak because none of my friends played far enough in really to warrant lending them that disc. So yay that they lost interest. But for an art project in junior high, I actually cut off the front of my Dot Hack Mutation. It's sitting on the shelf. I really should have grabbed it and brought it in just to show how stupid I was as a kid. But either way, I needed a new copy anyway because of the state of the disc. And now I have this. So I'm good to continue on and keep playing the games. I mean, I was going to anyways because, like I said, my discs mostly play. They just might skip or freeze, but sometimes they just run fine. It's weird. You know how disc scratches are. Sometimes they don't bother anything, sometimes they do. And related to another series I've been covering on the channel, here is Metal Slug Anthology for the PS2. Metal Slug Anthology has Metal Slugs, you know what? I mean, I guess I can just show the back of the case here. Metal Slug 1, 2, X, which is kind of just like a beefed up version of 2. 3, which is the furthest I have reviewed. 4, 5, and 6. I have never played Metal Slugs 4, 5, and 6. I've only played these ones, as well as some of the Neo Geo Pocket Color ones, first mission and second mission. Actually, I haven't played second mission. I played first mission, as well as Metal Slug Advance on the GBA. But I've never played Metal Slug 4, 5, and 6, or Double X, which I think is 7. I'm not sure. But this is another series that I wanted to continue covering on the channel because I really love Metal Slug. I love its run and gun action. It's loads of fun. It has some of the best sprite art in existence. And I know that sounds weird, but like SNK are just... they were masters of sprite art back in the day. Like, they did such good stuff with, like, suboptimal, like, what is it? It's not suboptimal. Subpixel movement and stuff like that, where you don't change the outline of a character, but you move around stuff within its frame to, like, make the sprite move and everything to mimic movement. It's, if you know sprite art, if you know pixel art, anything like that, that probably made sense to you, and you probably know just how amazing SNK is at pixel art. So, yeah, this is Metal Slug Anthology, Metal Slugs 1 through 6, which means I'm good to cover the next ones on the channel. And moving on, we have another me pick, which I can get away with this kind of me pick because I am happily married and my wife doesn't look at me horribly. And if people look at me horribly, I can just smile because I have a wife. This game caused, like, not controversy, but I remember it kind of riling people up because it has, like, you know, sexy female ninja, kunoichi, all that jazz. Please forgive me. But this is actually supposed to be a pretty fun, solid, kind of like third-person, stealth, hack-and-slashy kind of game, right? I remember watching reviews on it back then, like X-Play, and reading about it in PSM Magazine. Obviously, it was a game that my parents were never going to let me pick up. With a few exceptions, I was never allowed to buy M-rated games. I think the major exception was Mom let me buy Gungrave Overdose back in the day. But this one was one that was definitely never coming up. It's just like how I had to wait until I was an adult with my own money to get into Persona because Mom was never going to buy Persona 3 for me. Which I did, and I loved that game, still do, and I hope I love this game. It looks fun. There's another one that's in this kind of like same vein that people pair together. I think it's called Nightshade. I've never played it, but it's another one of those like sexy female ninja type things. And yeah, I hope this is good. I know it's got a lot of stealth, wire mechanics, strangling people. I don't know if it's fair to call it female, like sexy Tenchu, but that's just how I've always kind of categorized it in my brain. And I've enjoyed the Tenchu games in the past, so why wouldn't I enjoy this one? I hope it's good anyway. I think its price is maybe part of the scarcity of the game. I don't know if it didn't get a big print run or if because of the content of the game, it kind of got a little bit less. I don't know. Either way, that one will be fun. Who knows if that's ever getting covered on the channel. That might just be a personal play. We'll see. I try to keep my YouTube videos very family friendly, if that's not been apparent, and I don't know if that's the kind of video game I could in good faith review on my channel. So that might be something I just play personally. We'll see. Now, here is another one I've been looking for a few years, and that is G-Saviour. Now, G-Saviour was a movie, a Gundam movie, that set in the Universal Century. If you know anything about Gundam, it's late Universal Century. It was Canadian-made live-action movie, and it is very much made fun of in the fandom. And that's fine. But the game is a completely different story, because the game is actually supposed to be pretty dang fun. I've been keeping an eye out for it, and I finally have it now. Oh, sweet. It just ripped. I thought I was going to have to get my knife. Forgive me for your ears for a second. Okay. That might not have been as bad as I expected. But there's always this one vendor at SEGE that just has like loads of Japanese imports, and I've been looking there for a few years to see if I would find this. And I did. And I actually got to sit around and talk to one of the guys at the store who was in the middle of playing through his copy of the game. Unfortunately, it has no manual. It does have the game, and yeah, that does kind of suck because I didn't know that because the game was sealed in their store, so I couldn't open it and check it out. That's kind of sucky. But I have the game. What's interesting about this game is that, well, for one, it's actually supposed to be pretty good, but for another, there's enough English in the menus for you to be able to play the game. From my understanding, it's not supposed to be too difficult. Also, what's interesting is even though this is a game that only came out in Japan, it has English voice acting. So playing the game and understanding the story is really easy because it uses English voice actors. It uses a bunch of voice actors that were local to Japan. Some of them are ones that are known in other games, though I can't name any off the top of my head. I'm blanking on that. But I'm a big Gundam fan, if you know that. This is something I could see myself checking out. I did a review of Journey to Jaburo and Encounters in Space. That's what it was. Journey to Jaburo, Encounters in Space. I did a duology review of those two games. I'm always up for checking out more Gundam games. I also have one of Battle Assault 2 if you're into Gundam fighting games. And I have a couple of Let's Play videos where I was playing Gundam Battle Chronicle, another Japanese exclusive game, though on the PSP. So playing Japanese Gundam games or Super Robot Wars is another one that I've played a good bit of. It isn't foreign to me. I'm very familiar with it, and this is something I could see myself playing on the channel, especially because it's in English, so it would be really easy to show footage and not have to be like, I'm making assumptions about what's happening here. No, I can just be like, yes, this is the story. I can talk about it in the video. But yeah. Oh, and I guess, just real quick, if you know G-Saviour, this is actually a sequel that takes place 1 year after it, so that's another little tidbit that's interesting if you're in the Gundam fandom. And we are moving away from PS2 to PS3 with Transformers Fall of Cybertron. I grew up on Transformers. G1, the movie, was actually the first thing I ever saw, so Optimus's death was basically like my first encounter, and Hot Rod was super cool to me. He still is. I think Rodimus is cool. I think he gets a little bit too much flack in seasons 3 and 4, but, seasons 3 and 4 maybe could have done with a little bit of better production anyway. Fall of Cybertron. I already have War for Cybertron. It was a fun game. I have Devastation, which is another fun Transformers game. I have Transformers on PS2. That one I actually do have a review of. And I like Transformers. I have toys. I would potentially drag you around my room and show you some. I don't know. You guys want a little tour? It might be messy, but here we go. Animated Blur. Some other ones. I'm going to move away from my mic so I can't actually say all their names. And that was the quick room tour, which was probably chaotic. I hope I didn't make any of you motion sick. Let me make sure I get my camera set up here right again. Oh no, we're at an angle. Can I fix it? I can fix it. Cool. All right, so Transformers, Fall of Cybertron. I've not played this. I played War for Cybertron. War for Cybertron was a lot of fun. So of course I wanted to play Fall of Cybertron. I've actually, I think Devastation is probably one of the best Transformers games I played, alongside the PS2 one. War for Cybertron's really good, but I remember it making me think like this is a bit too stiff at times, but not like it's bad. I want to make sure it's clear. It's not a bad game at all. It's a great game. And I'm hoping this one will be great too. And that was our only PS3 game. We are moving on to PS4 now, and this isn't even a me pick. This is a wife pick. We are both big Digimon fans. She's been interested in Next Order. I reviewed Digimon World 3 on the PS1. That's one of my videos up on my channel if you want to check that out. I even still have... I'm going to move you guys around again, and forgive the light. But I even have this old card collector thing from the Digimon card game back when I was a kid. I just showed my shelves. You probably saw some of my Digimon model kits and other random stuff like that. The wife has a lot of that stuff out around her. We like Digimon. We're big Digimon fans here. So she wanted to check out Next Order. Digimon World Next Order. Now, I'm not as big into the sim Digimon stuff, like raising them like they are pets and stuff. That's really not my thing, which is why I didn't check out Digimon World 1 on this channel first. I went with 3. Plus 3 was my first Digimon World game that I played as a kid. But she was interested in this one, and I'll be interested to watch her play it because newer Digimon games haven't quite done it for me. I tried to get into Cyber Story, and I just couldn't. It just didn't interest me, and I was like, this kind of sucks because, you know, I like Digimon. But who knows? Maybe that one will be interesting, or maybe I'll just start getting interested in other Digimon World games again. Or maybe I should go play Digimon World 2, because I haven't, and I recently learned after my 3 video that it's not a Digimon raising game. It's more of like a dungeon crawler with like turn-based battles and stuff, and that might actually be like way more up my alley. But that's enough Digimon. We're going to go to another wife pick, and the last wife pick, which is Silent Hill Origins. I don't mess with Silent Hill. Silent Hill's not my thing. Silent Hill is my wife's thing. And Origins was one of the games that she didn't have yet. In fact, this was one of 2 games she didn't have yet. She still doesn't have a copy of Shattered Memories. There were a few there that we saw for specifically Wii. It was the version we were looking at. And we ended up not picking them up. She passed on a copy and she went to go look for it later. And she was like, it's gone. So that'll be another one that we pick up another time. But as you can see, this is this. It's a UMD, and lo and behold, it's cracked because the cases on UMD suck. That's not a big deal. This is going to get ripped straight to our PSP so we can play it flat and not have play it from a memory stick and not have to worry about the UMD because UMD drives go bad. It is on mine. Mine's starting to do that scratchy whirl thing, but it's still good enough that we can rip the game, play it straight off the stick, and my wife can play through Silent Hill Origins. She likes her Silent Hill games. She likes the Silent Hill movies. I think she started the series with 2, playing Silent Hill 2 back in college, I want to say. And then she got 3, and she's continued to play them over the years. At the times when we couldn't play them, like money was tight and stuff like that, she would watch the story videos on YouTube and catch up that way. But we're in a position now where we are blessed enough that we have these kind of funds, and the wife can check out Silent Hill all she wants. I don't mess with this stuff. If I do horror, it's like Resident Evil and stuff like that. But she likes Silent Hill. And this is the final pickup of the day, which is Final Fantasy II on the PSP. Now, I'm going to be reviewing Final Fantasy I on the PSP this year. That's in my game plan. I've got the footage recorded and everything like that. I'm working on the review. That's happening this year. And I consider the PSP versions, spoilers, to be the definitive versions of their games. At least for Final Fantasy I. I've not played Final Fantasy II PSP. I played through Final Fantasy II on Final Fantasy Origins, which was my first introduction to Final Fantasy I and II back in the day, as well as the Dawn of Souls. And I'm pretty sure this PSP version has the extra stuff as well that's in Dawn of Souls, as well as like the cutscenes. You can see here is one of the CGI cutscenes, pre-rendered cutscenes from the PS1 version. PSP versions are the superior versions of Final Fantasy. And I have Final Fantasy IV Complete on PSP, which includes the After Years. Now, I've not checked that one out, so I can't be like, it is the definitive version, especially when there's the 3DS remake that I know a lot of people really enjoy. But either way, this is it. We're closing out on Final Fantasy II. Maybe not the most exciting game to close out on, but that's everything we bought at SEGE. There's plushies, there's games. I just motioned to something you can't see, so forgive me. There's games, plushies. If you know, I've been covering .hack. I've been doing my due diligence and research into that series. But yeah, that was our year at SEGE. Thank you for watching this video, and until next time, take it easy.